My name is Joshua Davey. I am being pursued by cartels, the Mexican cartels. It's my fault, essentially, and I'll get into that. But I kind of wanted to explain what happened because, a lot of, people around me, because apparently they've been, talking to fucking everybody about it. Saying that I snitched, and I'll get into why they're saying that. But I wanted to make this video to kind of, explain everything. I've kind of lost hope for getting out of this alive, being able to live a normal life. If I ever do get out from underneath this, ever. But and I was kind of afraid of making a video talking about it at all because, me talking is essentially what made this happen in the first place. But recently, they've been talking to a lot of people around me, and I've overheard some things and stuff like that, and it seems like they're not gonna, wait and catch me when I'm not around cameras anymore, because for the last 2 years, I haven't spent, more than probably an hour outside of corporate video cameras, like public video cameras. I don't have a place to stay. I'm living in my car in the parking lot of a place that's got 24-hour surveillance. And it's a bad spot for, somebody to come and kill somebody, because it'll be all over the fucking, news and stuff. It's a very low crime area and stuff. But anyways, for 2 years, I've stayed underneath video cameras, haven't, done anything, haven't traveled or anything like that because of this. I've been trying to save up money and dip out, but the temperature's been kind of turned up, I would say. But that's the reason for me making the video. So this kind of starts back in, or this part will connect to when it started. It didn't start this long ago, but in 2016, late September of 2016, my cousin Wesley Ney was murdered brutally. They made him dig his own grave and took a video of it. And then they chopped him up and put him in there. So that's relevant for how I've kind of fucked up and got myself in this situation. So about 3.5, maybe 4 years, 3.5, I would say, maybe a little bit less. I'm losing track of, my days and stuff. I was in Mount Pleasant, Utah, going to visit my dad. My dad is doing drugs and stuff at the time, but it turns out that he had bladder cancer. And at the time, we didn't know what stage it was and stuff. I just knew that he had bladder cancer, and he was really struggling with it, affecting his health a lot. So I was taking him to his doctor's appointments and stuff. And I do drugs with him, kind of thing. I've historically had a lot of issues with substance abuse, mainly alcohol, for most of my life, and then there was a couple years there that did harder stuff, mainly opiates. But anyways, so I was down in Mount Pleasant, Utah, and my dad wasn't staying with, but he was like living in his Jeep in the driveway of a guy named Ben Nielsen. Ben Nielsen. You'll probably look him up on Facebook. It's in Manti. But anyways, we were down there doing that, and during the course of this, my dad tried. Here, let me explain this. I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I had picked up some magnesium rims for a bullet bike, for a racing bike, a nice bike, and I picked them up at a super cheap price, and I was gonna flip them. But yeah, so anyways, that plays into this. So I had them in the trunk of my car, and my dad tried setting me up to get robbed, to have this guy, take those from me, kind of thing. Ben Nielsen. And there's a lot that goes into that and stuff, but that's essentially like cut and dry if you package it nicely. And so so after that happened, I was drinking and went over to kick it with my brother and his wife. Okay, and we're over there and I'm drinking and stuff, and we're talking about how could Dad do this? That's just not him.